And the shark never worked, and Steven Spielberg had to reconceive the film because the shark never worked.
1974, a 27-year-old director is on the water, weeks behind schedule, with a $300,000 mechanical shark that will not work. He cannot show the monster, so he stops trying.
Build a half-size cage, so it'll make a 15-foot great white shark look like a 30-foot great white shark. So I said, well, why don't we try it? So the Universal spent some money, and we actually went to Australia with a midget who told us that he knew how to scuba dive. As a matter of fact, I was interviewing midgets.
The weight he reached for instead, because he had nothing else left to reach for, is the reason the film still works.
The more the shark didn't work, the more I had to invent, implanting in the audience the fear of the unknown, the threat of what they couldn't see but knew was just lurking underwater. And I think that really was the Hitchcock, tonic water that made the movie special. Those things without Bruce kind of made the movie.
Jaws invented the summer blockbuster. It is built out of a machine that sank, and it keeps happening. The moment everyone remembers is almost never the moment anybody planned.
Well, here's what I think he meant, is that we actually had a really good story, which is why the movie was successful. And then day by day, Favreau and myself and Jeff and Paltrow, we would just sit around and I would ball up the sides for the day and throw them against the wall, and then Kevin Feige would say, okay, good morning. And then we would try to make a better version of the scene, which is actually why it really kind of came.
14 years and $30 billion came out of that room. Anthony Hopkins is on screen in The Silence of the Lambs for 16 minutes. The one thing everybody can still imitate was not in the script.
When I was a little boy, I'd seen Dracula with Bela Lugosi. And I'd probably read some of that when he sees Jonathan Harker shaving.
Yes.
And he cuts himself, and Bela Lugosi was... And I remember saying, these little girls, when I was a little boy, I'd do that and they all run, scream for me. But at that moment, I ate his liver. I didn't plan it. I said, I ate his liver with some fava beans and nice candy. And I thought, and Jonathan, my God.
He was copying a horror film he saw as a child to frighten girls in a playground. But some of these are not choices at all. On Django Unchained, Leonardo DiCaprio put his hand through a glass in the middle of a take.
That was the fun part, is watching their reactions. Honestly, because boom, it happened, and then I opened my hand, and then blood starts pouring everywhere. And
He did not stop. He finished the scene, bleeding, and Tarantino kept it. That decision had a cost, and it landed on the actress sitting opposite him.
It's true, and it is true. There was a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio, who's so brilliant in the film, actually smashed glass and had a bloody hand and finished the scene with a bloody hand. And so in the scene, he goes to touch my face later, and Quentin wasn't sure if he wanted to use the take with the blood or not. So every moment after that moment in the movie, we shot twice. We would shoot completely bloody with him touching my face with fake blood. And then we had to take everything off and shoot it again totally clean, because he just wanted to have the option in the edit of blood or no blood.
Which brings us to the most repeated accident in movie history, and to the part where I have to tell you, it probably didn't happen. Alan Rickman falls from Nakatomi Plaza, and they drop him early, on 2 instead of 3, so the fear is real. Here is Alan Rickman.
I don't remember this count 2, count 3 thing. I just remember that, again, with the benefit of hindsight, I looked at the faces of some slightly incredulous producers when I said that I would do it myself. And it was being dropped from about 40 feet, as I recall. And of course, because this was in the days of, there wasn't any CGI. So it was, let's drop the actor. I hope that he doesn't spin around in the middle of the fall and land on his head and kill himself. They were very careful to make it my very last shot on the film.
He asked to do it himself. 40 feet, no computer. And the producers made sure of one thing. It would be the last shot of his schedule. If it went wrong, they already had the film. Not every accident is a disaster, though.
I remember we had to go down this hallway and I had to run. I was meant to be naked and it was very dark and I jokingly went in, I said, I want a closed set for this, and the first AD was laughing. Anyway, we went to the first take, and I'm running. There's a very intense scene where I first realise I have an adamantium skeleton, I've been experimenting, I'm naked, there's blood, and I'm like, ah! And as I run around the corner, the first AD had the entire crew of females, all the females on the crew, with like $5 notes going, woo! And of course, the first thing I did was like, oh! I did cut myself on the inner thigh. Oh! Because I saw like, oh!
When you see the inner thigh, do you mean
No, actually the inner
ends?
thigh, thankfully.
Wow. Yes. DIY circumcision. Just
I did the guy, obviously it's PG-13, so you can't have bits and pieces flying about, right? Yeah, the censors in America don't like that kind of stuff. Look at, and as my rap gift from Bryan Singer, the director, he gave me a bag, and it was a little bag, and it was very light. I looked inside, it had film inside it, and I'm like, what's film? And I looked.
The weight comes from certainty, not from slowing down. But the best one is the simplest. Cairo. A swordsman steps into the street and puts on a show. Indiana Jones looks at him and shoots him. What was written was a 3-page duel, storyboarded, rehearsed. And that morning, Harrison Ford could not stand up.
With Raiders, I learned how to compromise creatively, more than any other picture I made since my television days. The sequence where Harrison is battling the black swordsman and pulls out the gun and shoots the swordsman was a compromise that I made on the day that Harrison wasn't feeling too well.
Now, the rest of us sort of stumbled through, hoping for the best and not really obtaining it.
I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
And I had a 3-page sequence that George had conceived and I had conceived along with George and Larry about the most definitive whip against the sword fight.
Now, Stephen had searched the world for the best swordsman. A lot of planning had gone into this fight scene. So I went up to Stephen as soon as I arrived and I said, Stephen, why don't we just shoot this sumbitch? And Stephen said, oh my God, well, I was thinking that too.
So he took out the gun, shot the man. We were a day and a half ahead of schedule, and we moved on to the next sequence.
A day and a half ahead of schedule. None of it was the plan. The shark broke, the glass broke, the actor was ill, and every time, the thing that survived was better than the thing that was written.